Good morning, Chillie Falls here on Saturday morning. This is the 29th of June. It's 10 a.m. I'm coming to you from Forest, Virginia. Before I get to today's main story, which is about the suffering of the Mexican beaches in 2019, got a couple things that I'd like to touch on and get cleaned out of the way. If you're new to this channel, we certainly appreciate you coming. Whether you're on the live broadcast or if you're on the video replay, we certainly do appreciate it. You'll always find links down in the description to anything pertinent. And there's also links to things like my Amazon link. If you go shop on Amazon and buy something through that link, I make a couple pennies to help support the channel. There's a link to my Facebook page. There's a link to Twitter. There's a link to all sorts of things. I regularly post videos, and we have discussions on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. In the past, I've called it cruise industry news, and we've expanded it now pretty much to where it's travel and cruise industry news. So we're not necessarily talking 100% about cruises. We still weighted heavily in that because that's my main interest is in cruises. But we've got a lot of other things that are factoring in and related. So I've changed it to travel and cruise industry news. We broadcast live Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Just like clockwork. We welcome you to come and join us any of those times. And at any time during this broadcast, or if you're watching the video replay, you can hit the little subscribe button, which is down in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification system, and you'll be notified anytime we go live or when I post a new video. Now, our top story today is about the plague that is literally killing the Mexican Caribbean beaches. That's on the east coast of Mexico. A number of beaches have been plagued by stinky brown algae. It looks like seaweed, but it's not actually seaweed. It's actually a form of algae called Sargassum. It's often mistaken for seaweed. It's fouling the beaches and waters in Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, Progresso, among others. And it's not just in Mexico. However, that seems to be the worst of it currently. This is not a new problem, folks. This has been going on since, I think, about 6 years now, since it first crept up down in Brazil. And it's getting worse and worse each year. And the Mexican government is working really hard trying to clean up the beaches, and they're having a real struggle with that. They're spending a lot of money, and there's not really a good cure for it. One of the main problems is not only do you have the ugliness of it, but it's stinky. It smells like rotten eggs as it starts to decompose. Jellyfish, trash, and other debris get caught up in the mess and make it hazardous for people walking on the beaches. So my main reason for bringing this up, folks, a lot of you have Western Caribbean cruises planned, which stop in Cozumel, Progresso, a number of places in Mexico, and they have excursions to the pristine white sand beaches of Mexico. You just need to be aware of this. Check ahead of time and see if the cruise stop that you're going to, if one of those beaches is one of the affected beaches. Maybe you want to do something besides spending a beach day for the port of call that day. It's not pleasant, folks, and it's not something that's guaranteed that it's going to stay. Earlier or last fall, Barbados and Antigua both had horrible problems, and that cleared up. So it's just a strange situation, and the scientists that are working on it, yeah, they're not 100% sure about what's causing it either. Um, it's affecting 130 miles of beaches in Mexico alone, and other beaches elsewhere. You've seen some of it in the United States. Now, keep in mind that in normal amounts, this stuff is healthy and good for the environment because it gives uh, a place for like turtles to nest and hide their young, and other species are protected by this. But when it gets overwhelming like this, then it becomes a deterrent to the environment. So, and nobody's quite sure why, what's causing it. One of the some of the scientists feel that it has to do with global warming. I'm not getting into that argument, folks. I'm not saying one way or the other. That's not for this channel. But if overall the temperature rises a little bit on the water side, and increased fuel coming in from the rivers that are sparking this stuff to grow and bloom and produce more rapidly than it normally does. In normal limits, it's essential as a fish habitat in the water. But when it gets heavy, then it becomes a deterrent for the fish. So it's, too much of it can cover or block important turtle nesting grounds, drown out light to the ocean. It's a tough situation. Not only that, it's just not nice to be around. Mexico is launching a massive cleanup. They're spending $37 million to try to clean up these 130 miles of beaches, and they get it cleaned up and it comes right back in. So we're not sure about what the answer is, but you need to be aware of it, and you need to take appropriate action. If you're planning on being in any of those locations, whether you're going to Cancun for a week or a weekend or whatever, or a port of call on a cruise, be aware of it, check ahead, make sure you don't want to waste a day on a beach that's full of sargassum. Now, because of my lack of technical skills, I have no idea how to. I mean, you're sitting here looking at the big fat guy. I don't know how to make this thing work so that I could do pictures in the background of the live broadcast, or a slideshow of pictures of beaches with all the crap on them. So this will be a video later on this morning. There will also be another video that'll probably be a similar title, only pictures, that has the actual slideshow. It'll be a repeat of much of the same information. But that way, if you are interested in that, or you are planning on going, you want to see what it looks like, what you might be dealing with if you go out on one of the beaches in one of these places, you'll see it. So that will be posted as well. I've already made the video because I couldn't figure out how to do that on the live broadcast. It just hasn't been uploaded to YouTube yet, but it will be there shortly after this live broadcast becomes a video, which is within usually 10-15 minutes after I go off the air. So the Mexican beaches, that was our main subject this morning. A couple other things that I do want to cover. One of the things that I thought was just a neat story, and again, this is on the travel side of things as opposed to the cruise side of things, but a new water park in San Antonio is making sure that kids with disabilities don't miss out on splashing fun this summer. Morgan's Inspirational Island is an extension of Morgan's Wonderland, a theme park built to be inclusive for all its guests, including kids with disabilities. Like Wonderland, all parts of the Inspiration Island water park are wheelchair accessible. Guests with special needs are also admitted at no cost. Morgan's Wonderland and Inspirational Island are the creations of Gordon and Maggie Hartman, a couple whose daughter has physical and cognitive challenges. Excuse me. Other features of the $17 million Morgan's Inspirational Island, which opened on Saturday. It opens today. Yeah, this is Saturday. It opens today. Include waterproof RFID, that's radio frequency identification wristbands, so parents can keep track of their kids, a 7-story high lighthouse, and a water play area called Rainbow Reef, which has water that can be warmed for guests with sensibilities to cold. Just thought it was a neat story where somebody is going out of their way to take care of some kids that don't have the chance to witness things like normal kids. So, good story, all in favor of activities like this, and kudos to Gordon and Maggie Hartman in San Antonio. Okay, let's see what else we got on the agenda here today. Sorry about this delay here, folks. I'm a little slow with some of this. All right, Friends of the Earth released the 2019 cruise ship report card, which grades 16 cruise lines on their environmental impact. And guess who failed? This year's report card continues to show an apparent ongoing lack of drive by most cruise companies to reduce their air and water pollution. For Carnival Corporation, this report card wasn't good. All 7 cruise companies under their umbrella received a failing grade of F in transparency for their blatant and continuous illegal pollution. The last report card was released in 2016, so they obviously haven't improved much since then. The report card grades cruise lines on 4 criteria: air pollution reduction, including whether ships have installed shoreside power connections and whether they're using them; sewage treatment technology, compliance with Alaska's water quality regulations to protect the coastal waters; and transparency. Studies have shown that each day at sea, an average cruise vessel emits more sulfur dioxide than 13 million cars and produces about 21,000 gallons of sewage. Now, the newer cruise ships, thank goodness, have made strides in eliminating these problems. Going to the LG fuel, a lot of that it's going to get better, and everybody, including Carnival, is bringing the newer ships out with the environment in mind. So again, in time, and it's not going to happen overnight, folks. Those of you like me that love to cruise and love the cruise industry, they're taking steps to make it better. It's just going to take some time, and that's the sad part of the whole situation. Of course, the other thing that just aggravates the heck out of me, because I've been a Carnival guy all my life, and they keep doing such bonehead things like they did this week on the Dam, running up on the whales feeding instead of taking the proper procedures on approaching a pod of whales. That kind of stuff has got to stop, folks. Those of us that continue to support and talk about the cruise industry, the cruise companies need to do a better job, all of them, and especially Carnival. And again, I'm a Carnival guy, so you know I feel bad about Carnival, but so be it. All right, moving right along. So they failed on their report card from another agency. Okay, Thursday. That was a couple days ago. Happened after I was on the air Thursday morning, so it was Thursday afternoon, Alaska time. So that was Thursday evening, my time here in Virginia. By the way, we're coming to you from Forest, Virginia. But on Thursday morning, there was another float plane accident in Alaska. A small plane was attempting to land on the water between two cruise ships, and it crashed, and the local authorities have stated all 4 aboard were okay, with only one needing further attention in the hospital. The accident occurred just off Ketchikan, which is one of the busy cruise ports in Alaska this time of year. From our understanding, there were no cruise passengers on the plane. However, it is extremely worrying with now the third float plane accident in 2 months. So if you're going on a Alaska cruise this summer, folks, and a lot of people, I have too, have taken the plane excursions. Be careful with who you're dealing with. I never tell people to absolutely go with excursions from the cruise ship, because I realize that they're more expensive in a lot of cases. But there's sometimes that you might want to put safety first, and that at least gives you a leg up on safety, which may or may not be more safety. One other feel-good story as far as I'm concerned. While cruising around the world aboard the Holland America Amsterdam, over 80 passengers have come together to do something rather extraordinary. They're taking part in a program called Project Linus, which is allowing them to come together, meet new people, make new friends, and all the while creating hundreds of blankets, which will be distributed to children in need. Just a cool idea, a cool project, and one that's working. Saw a picture with just a beaucoup of blankets that these folks have made while cruising. Neat idea. Whoever came up with the idea, hats off to them. Good idea, great project. All in favor of anything like that will help those less fortunate than we are. So that's all I've got today as far as the travel and cruise industry news goes. I come to you from Forest, Virginia, at the farm. I call it the farm. It's a family farm that my sister and I inherited, and where we live, right outside of Lynchburg, Virginia. The Saturday, the 29th of June, it's hot as hell here. It'll be up in the 90s, and I realize, folks, that's nothing compared to my friends in Europe that are going through. I saw yesterday in France, it was 114. Thank goodness it's nothing like that here. We have 91 or 2 with high humidity, and it's pretty miserable out, especially if you're like me and have to do a little farm work here and there to take care of the property and be outside working. But anyway, yesterday we had a thunder shower in the afternoon that came up, and a cold wave just roared through. The temperature dropped to 89. So I had to get out my fur-lined undergotchies because it was so cold. But anyway, it's going to be in the 93, 94, and it's like for the next 7 or 8 days. So, and they say there's no rain in the forecast, but the storm yesterday wasn't supposed to happen. It did. But anyway, that's about it for today. Remember, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 10 a.m. for the live broadcast. Check out the video and there'll be a link to the video down here someplace, which I'll get as soon as I get the video on the beaches in the pictures for the beaches in Mexico, if you'd like to check that out. And as always, if you can give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. That's for YouTube to know that somebody actually has watched this and likes what I'm doing. If you don't like, give me a thumbs down. It's, you know, I don't care. But a thumbs up would always be nice, whether it's on my live broadcast or on my videos. So that's it until, this is Saturday, until Tuesday. Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. I'll be back with you. And if anything major happens between now and then, I'll always post a video and get the information up on YouTube as soon as possible. So for now, this is Chillie Falls. Later, y'all.